Hello, Brobs. I think we're going to finish this book today. That's me plan. Let's get right to it, bruv. Most Blessed, chapter 25. There is a class of souls here that are blessed above all others. I like how they spell blessed. They are the men and women who in their mortal life have been true to their higher selves. They may have been very simple folk, without wealth and worldly position or even intellectual attainments, but they have been keen to sense the strong current of right and justice. Whenever it showed itself in the stream of their lives, these people kept their minds open and were glad to improve their opportunities when they came to this plane. As a consequence, they have become highly advanced in knowledge and power. They are such fine citizens that their desire is for a leveling up of the whole. No special privilege or honor is within their desires. They are willing to earn the rewards we have to bestow here. This is not to say that among these spiritual aristocrats there are not many who have been in earth life rich and powerful. Most of our American men of wealth were self-made. They are too intelligent not to take advantage of our system of mental and spiritual progress. There are also men who found mere riches simply a means of expression. Here they are proud to find their mental powers still their greatest joy. We pay tribute to many of these men for their untiring mental industry and their great humanity. They are to be found, as a rule, working with us for the sake of the world's victims, and without their aid we should be hopeless of success. You who try to grasp the picture of this plane would be proud to own fellowship with these souls. You try to scan the horizon of earth life to discover where you are drifting. I have told you the most brutal truths about present mortal life in the hope that they may prove a compass. Here you will wait with us for a favorable time, an opportunity for reincarnating. You will realize, perhaps, that no great temptation exists now to re-enter earth life. Until the system of life on earth makes existence here a part of its scheme, there will still be all the perils and horrors of chance that are now making of mortal life a sterile and unproductive experience. Our one consolation, human love, is now becoming the target for destructive forces. Perversion, psychoanalysis, the war between the sexes and the generations, class consciousness, and the exaltation of worldly success above all else have made of family life a bitter and disillusioning experience. Even maternity is now under fire. No mother is safe from the barbed shafts of the so-called wits. No man is encouraged to be loyal and faithful to his marriage vows. No woman is helped by the opinions current to be a chaste and devoted wife. What sort of world will this be if you banish human love? What other love is there? The devotion of a dumb animal to the master who feeds it, is that enough? Self-love is what you are now placing on the altar. It is the God self that is worshipped and sacrificed to. We do not observe any happiness resulting from this idolatry. We are all human, and no one of us is worth worshipping. The more man has degraded life, the prouder he seems of himself. We are a little sickened at most of the self-worship we behold in those now coming over. A more disagreeable, unpleasant, and unattractive race than ours at present, it would be hard to imagine. The individual exceptions but prove the rule. When you come here, you may continue to worship yourself, but you will be rather lonely. The other self-worshippers are not very companionable, as each can only talk about himself, and that interests no one but himself. I hope this will show you what to expect, unless you are willing to give a little more thought to others. I have never been among those who could say, "Thank God I am not as other men. I simply died so young. And my last earth life was spent in such a pioneer community that I have had the advantage of escaping the 19th century and the present regime. I had the opportunity of studying with the great and illumined minds of the masters here, who in earth life were still true to the old ideas of character and spiritual integrity. Ideas which were once the standard set for all men to rally to. I have not known your temptations, and I have been spared your struggles. These facts, however, do not make me blind to the danger you are in. Each and every one who allows himself simply to go along with the crowd. To be a good sport is not enough. Each man who has the intelligence even to read a book of this character is a power. You can use that power for your own salvation and your fellow man's. Why not try to make a world fit, not for a hero, but for a decent, ordinary man and woman to live and to die in? Your death is as important as your life. Rather, I should say, your life that your death inaugurates is of deepest significance. Unless you will make earth life worth living, you will dread to return to it. Make reincarnation worth having. Even our most blessed souls here dare not venture into it again. We are in your hands as you yourself are. You cannot delegate anything to another. Each one of you must do his part and do it now. Otherwise, your next earth life will be worse than this one. I do not believe this one has blessed you. Be sure of this. You count on all planes. Be among the blessed on earth as here, and work so that reincarnation shall become a joyous prospect instead of a thing to be dreaded. Work, work, work. How many more pages? All right. Oh, 5 more pages. Chapter 26, End of the Road. We are wondering, as you are, what is to be the ultimate fate of man. There is no sign of an end here, nor on the spiritual plane. We seem to be made of indestructible stuff, so far as the mind goes. Scientists try to discover the beginnings of the soul, or life force, in the hope of predicting the end. So far, their quest has been fruitless. In the world of matter, they are very successful in their experiments. They keep getting down to finer and finer divisions of the material world, and are now in the realm of such attenuation of the physical creation that their work is almost pure mathematics. We here still hope that the secret of life itself may be revealed when the lower vehicles and expressions of the soul have been explained. We cannot conceive of endless life. We know that nature is endless. Forms change and the rhythm is often interrupted, but still the active principle is there. The soul, too, may have great periods of rest on the higher plane of consciousness. The Oriental call this nirvana. We do not find any profit in these speculations. We are confronted with the facts of life on 3 planes of being. Earthly, etheric, and spiritual. All are capable of such fast improvement. In order to make a fair fulfillment of any intelligent soul's conceptions, that we are more concerned with these than we are with the abstractions concerning the why and wherefore of the ultimate. I am, therefore I live, is an old quotation from the Latin that applies to all of us. We live. How and where and why we live are the questions pertinent to our time. We are, of course, tormented at all times by the ignorance, the prejudice, and the stupidity and cruelty of the average human being. I have no illusions, even as to the reception of these words. The common man will find it too strenuous a matter to do anything but go with the herd. Progress has always depended upon the enlightened and courageous few. It is to these few I address myself now. I have been made to see the need of sending this message and others into the mortal world to warn you of your danger. Against all precedent, I have hoped that they may not be in vain. I have patiently built up the power of my medium so that I might offer this opportunity to our people to make a more intelligent use of their incarnation. She, on her side, has given her valuable time and her physical strength to take down these few and hastily written statements. You have no conception of the difficulty or the limitations from which we both suffer. At that, we here on the etheric are profoundly grateful for the faith, the intelligence, and the devotion that have been demonstrated. She knows what a challenge she will meet, but she is too far along on her path to allow that to be a consideration. Would there were more of the same spirit. If we could muster 1,000 such people, we could conquer the dark forces bent on war and aid in the coming of the millennial age. You are willing to profit by the good obtained for you by the weary labor of others. Why not lend a hand? You will soon see a very much more enlightened race if you do your part now. A race you can fully trust yourself to incarnate into. You can be sure of a plane here where you could have peace of mind and the chance to study and raise your mental status to your fullest capacity. Here we have representatives of all the professions, sciences, arts, and crafts. We have orators and thinkers, great organizers and leaders. There is no lack of instructors for you. They are only too proud and glad to share their knowledge and mental riches with any who seek their help. I am a very simple and humble example of what an etheric university training can do for a soul that just had the barest opportunities of schooling in mortal life. I don't know about humble. You called people morons about 47 times, bro. In my lifetime, from 1762 to 1781 in a farming community in New England, the 3 R's were about as far as we went, unless we were rich men's sons. My father was a typical farmer, depending on the brawn of his own body and his children's to furnish the labor for his farm. We were a hardy lot, but beyond the ability to read and write and calculate in the simplest terms, we had no education. We were hunters and woodsmen. We understood the care of animals, and we loved and enjoyed the simple village pleasures, up to the time we enlisted with the other boys who could be spared from the farms and served in the War of the Colonies against England. I was killed in my 19th year. I came here and was mad, as youth always is, to get back into a body of flesh and blood. I had the great good fortune to meet a man who had been here 5 years, an old friend of my father. He warned me that I was too young, too ignorant, and too far from my spiritual understanding to make a success of another incarnation. I was, of course, loath to accept his word for it, but I had the sense to let him show me how the individual could study and improve his mind here. I was impressed. In former lives, I may say, I had been in a far higher station and was given what advantage then went with the noble English family's place in society. My soul knew that the advice my old friend gave me was sound, and I took it. In a few months, I was able to enter a large class of students under one of the greatest of masters, the one who has been always since my guide and friend. He has been on this plane for 300 years and always active in making a study of youth. He gave me his time and his instruction. He introduced me to other masters who, for his sake, interested themselves. I have read widely. By that I mean I have been able to get the author's meaning, for we have no books here, only thoughts. Wait, you have houses but no books? And apartments? Come on. I've had the great good fortune to be associated with the best minds as they came here. In my 150 years that I have remained here, I have been striving to make my own fate. I have tried to think, to make decisions, to be ready to serve, and to learn to love my fellow man. I hope one day to find my place in the mortal world again. It seems a far distant day now, for I see no chance of leaving my post here. I have been given much by those who are the governors here. I must make what return I can by lending my mind to the common duties we are undertaking on behalf of your war victims. I have a living interest in asking your help. Yet, it is as much to your interest as mine. We are all in this together. End of the communication. All right. That's the end of this book. I will move on to this one. Let's see how many pages this one is. For a dead guy, he's got a lot to say. These pages are going to be much more difficult to read. Smaller font. This font's twice as big, isn't it? Yeah, it is, buddy. Where shall I go? All right, bruv. That's all for now. There's also the book Love in the Afterlife, but I have not seen that cheap online. All right, bruv. Cheerio.